Quick take, free agent Buddy Hield will be playing with the Warriors next season after a sign-and-trade deal guaranteed for 2 years, 20 sources told Woj. Courtney, does this move the needle for Golden State at all?
They should feel very good about the replacement for Klay Thompson. It's not often that you can find a player who can shoot the three as well as Klay did. Well, their splash brother replacement is Buddy Hield. Now, does this move the needle for me as far as putting them in contender category? No, I still think that they are a big move away from doing just that. But I'll give the Warriors credit for what they've done throughout this offseason, especially this free agent period, to remake the middle of your rotation with DeAnthony Melton, so somebody who can take on that tough perimeter assignment while also spacing the floor. Kyle Anderson. I like what they've done around the edges, but to be considered any sort of dark horse fringe category contender, I think that they are still a little bit away.
It's time for another edition of Is That McNuts? Monica, let's start with the Warriors. They've had a successful offseason, if I said that. Is that McNuts?
So I'm going to say this is not McNuts. And hear me out before you say they didn't go grab a big fish. I think they have to understand that they're now in a different category of team as far as being contenders. I love Kyle Anderson. I love Buddy Hield. I think they are terrific role players. They're going to be able to space the floor again. Anderson is very versatile. I don't think, I should say, that there was a big fish that would have put them over the proverbial hump. So all things considered, I think this is patient, this is measured, and this is okay. They're entering a new era.
Bobby, where would you rank Golden State's offseason thus far?
I would put them in the top 5 on July 5th as far as off seasons here. I really like the Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton and certainly Buddy Hield, certainly 3 separate transactions there. But here's the but, as Monica said. Is this roster good enough to get from 46 wins last year and a 10th seed here? I still have questions about that.
Big need at shooter, and they acquired Buddy Hield from the Sixers in a sign and trade for a second-round pick in 2031. The 31-year-old Hield agreed to a 2-year deal that will guarantee him $21 million. Although he's not a splash brother, Hield has made 1,600 threes over the last 6 seasons. That's second behind his new backcourt running mate in Steph Curry. The Warriors ranked 7th in three-point percentage last season and made the second most threes of any team. Senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski joining us now. How does this Warriors trade now, when you bring in Buddy Hield, kind of fill the void of Klay Thompson going to the Mavericks?
Well, you're seeing the Warriors do it by committee, and Buddy Hield was a free agent. Philly just facilitated his signing. They get a 2031 second-round pick. But for Buddy Hield, this is a very team-friendly contract, essentially 2 years guaranteed at about $21 million. And Hield, listen, only Steph Curry has made more three-pointers in the NBA since Hield came in the league, 2016, 2017. You add in Kyle Anderson, who we reported that they are signing in a sign-and-trade with Minnesota, and DeAnthony Melton, another ex-Sixer who's coming over in free agency. You've seen them fill out their roster with some more veteran depth. And obviously, Buddy Hield is a shooter who's going to probably come off the bench for this Warriors team. Listen, they've recovered pretty well from Klay Thompson, and you'll see the growth of their first-year players, of Brandon Podziemski in his second year. Usually you see a jump. I think the Warriors are happy with what they've been able to do in this postseason.
They're really high on Kuminga, too, and the growth of that young team around Steph Curry.
Yeah, so they have assets to make more moves. And even if they close the Buddy Hield deal, which, by the way, Buddy Hield is going to put up the kind of three-point shooting that, comparable to Klay Thompson if he gets minutes. And, DeAnthony Melton is a better defender of perimeter players at this point than Klay. I mean, with those two pieces, they've, effectively filled in for Klay at a reasonable price. They have 4 tradable first-round picks, and they have some expiring salary hanging around their roster. They have a couple of tough contract extensions to work out between now and the fall, Jonathan Kuminga being the front there. But they still can make a big swing when a player becomes available. They've had some conversations on Lauri Markkanen. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but the Warriors are not in a terrible place. They're not the same team they were 3 years ago, but they're not in a desperate situation. I think that's important to realize.
Where are they, Zach, in the hierarchy in the Western Conference? Are they closer to being a title contender or a play-in team or worse?
I think they're kind of with the Lakers in that muck between seed 5 and seed 10 or 11 or 12 in a conference that is pretty deep in good, solid teams. And like I said about the Lakers, there's nothing wrong with being a good team in the Western Conference. It's hard to be a good team when there are so many other good teams. But there's a big gap between good team and great team. And the Warriors have more assets than the Lakers to close that gap. I do think they'll continue to talk with Utah about Lauri Markkanen. Is he the guy that closes the gap? That always depends on what goes out the door. And if I'm the Utah Jazz, if I'm Danny Ainge, I want Jonathan Kuminga, or else I'm just not going to do that deal. I don't know that Danny Ainge will take that stance, but if he does, that presents a really interesting dilemma for the Warriors because Kuminga is kind of the gem of the youth movement that has been happening while all this other drama at the top of the roster has also been happening. So I think that's where they are, and that's not a bad place to be. They're not a bad team. They're a good, solid team.
Bobby, how are you feeling about the Warriors offseason and what might come next for them? Is there more you expect them to do?
I do. I think the difference between the Warriors and where the Lakers are is they have blue chip prospects. When you look at certainly Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody and Brandon Podziemski, and Brian mentioned the draft equity they can go out and trade here. They've got a lot of these sweet spot contracts, I call them. Guys in that $5 to $10 million range where you can combine salary. Certainly that Andrew Wiggins contract is sitting on your book as a big number if you had to move here. So I think they are in a good position. If there is all it takes is one player to become available, but there are certainly teams like San Antonio that's sitting on a lot of draft picks, Brooklyn, Oklahoma City. They're still behind those teams if Markkanen does become available, and certainly San Antonio can probably put the best offer on the table.
Much more to come on NBA free agency, even though it seems like it all happens.
It's time for the Warriors to consider a risky move. For years, the Warriors played conservatively, re-signing their veteran stars while using draft picks on young prospects. That was the two-timeline strategy championed by owner Joe Lacob. While it brought them victory in the 2022 NBA Finals, it proved inadequate to sustain their dynasty. The upcoming offseason emerges as a critical moment for the Golden State Warriors, ready to reshape the franchise's trajectory. Will they commit to one last attempt at winning the championship, or will they opt for a financial restructuring? Mike Dunleavy Jr. and the front office face a series of daunting choices, leaving fans eager to find out the team's next moves. Expectations surrounding Golden State's future intensify. Before you finish, make sure to subscribe to the channel. After all, as we said before, we are producing Warriors videos almost every day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow on Gold-Blooded News. In conclusion, the future looks uncertain for the Golden State Warriors. With the possibility of losing and adding players to the team and the various trade options available, the Warriors are well positioned to continue to be a force to be reckoned with in the NBA. Stay tuned for more updates on the Warriors, and remember to support by leaving your feedback in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to know when I will send new news. Thank you for following Gold-Blooded News. A hug and see you next time.
We're gold-blooded!
Go Dubs!